Hi guys, my name's Christy. Welcome to Wildflower and Twine. Today, I thought I'd share with you my easiest ever sourdough recipe with a little hidden extra. So join me as I take you step by step into making the most delicious focaccia you've ever eaten. First, we're going to add in the water, honey, oil, and active starter into a mixing bowl and stir until it's well combined. I normally don't add honey into my focaccia mix, but I was feeling a little cheeky this day and, well, it paid off, so I think I'll be adding it again. I like to feed my starter straight away, and the scrapings from my jar are always enough. I just put 50 grams of water and 50 grams of flour in there, and that way I've always got 100 grams of starter to work with. And most of my recipes are usually calling for between 80 to 100 grams of starter, so it's always pretty good for me. And now add in your flour and salt. If you're new to sourdough, you'll probably find that when to add the salt is different in every recipe. I really don't like to complicate things, so I just add it with the flour because I find that if you add it in with the wet stuff, then it makes the mixture go a bit stringy. Mix all of this together until you get like a shaggy dough. You'll see what I mean in a second. Now I just like to clean up the edges of the bowl and give it a little gentle knead with the dough scraper here. It doesn't have to be worked or anything like that. I just like to bring it all into a little ballish kind of shape. I love using this glass casserole dish when mixing up my dough, because I can use a whiteboard marker on the lid to record the time started and how many stretch and folds and coil folds I've done. After letting the dough rest for an hour, I'll do my first stretch and fold. Lightly wetting your hands really helps with this process, and I also like to start by pulling the edges of the dough away from the bowl, and then once you've done that, just start lifting the dough and stretching it out and flopping it down on the other side. Do this 4 times at quarter turns of your bowl. Another hour later, and we're going to do another set of stretch and folds. And now we're going to start on our coil folds, and this is where you'll really start to see the gluten start to develop and the dough starting to expand. With wet hands, gently lift the dough from the center and try and coil that front part underneath. Once you've done this, you're going to turn it around and do the same on the other side. And then once you've done that, you're going to turn the bowl halfway and do it on both sides there. You can already notice the dough starting to tighten up. Repeat this process a few more times. All up, we're going to do 2 sets of stretch and folds and 4 coil folds. You can now start to see evidence of good fermentation with these little bubbles on top. And each time you work the dough, you'll notice a change. It'll become a little bit fluffy. You'll know when your dough has finished bulk fermenting when you can see these fermentation bubbles through the glass. Your dough has doubled in size and it also gently pulls away from the glass nice and cleanly. So now I'll just pop the lid back on and leave it in the fridge overnight and we'll work on her in the morning. But first, come and have a look at my starter. In the time it took us to work that dough, my sourdough starter is ready again. So if I were ready to bake, I could start another dough right now. It's the next morning and things are looking great. There's bubbles everywhere, the dough has risen some more, and there's a nice amount of jiggle. Generously oil your dish with some good quality olive oil and turn your dough out straight into that pan. You'll know your dough's perfectly fermented if it comes out of the bowl without any help. Lightly oil the top side and give it a flip just so that everything's nice and coated. Then I just let it rest for an hour or so to really rise and get all bubbly. Now the fun part. Top it with anything your heart desires. I've got some fresh garlic, parmesan cheese, nigella seeds, rosemary, and maybe a little bit of extra garlic oil. Lightly oil your hands and start to dimple the dough. This is so much fun. Cover it up again and let it rest while you preheat your oven to 230 degrees Celsius. Now the dough looks perfectly fermented, nice and bubbly and really relaxed, so it's time for the oven. Wow, this smells so good. Now all I have to do is fight the urge not to cut into it straight away. Look at that. I'm always a little excited and slightly surprised every time I cut into one of these gorgeous focaccias. Look how airy that is. It's absolutely stunning. Yum. So give this recipe a go, especially if you've ever felt a little intimidated by the sourdough process. And let me know in the comments what sourdough goodie you'd like to see next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.